So, welcome to The Naked Truth. My name is Lauren Becker, and this is the space where we talk about the truths of life. So, we will talk about the things that we keep hidden, the things that we keep private, the things that alienate us and separate us, and the things that would heal and help us if we actually only spoke about them. So, let me see if she's back on. Jules has jumped on. Yay! Hello! I'm speaking with the amazing Vienna Chiron today. She is a magical unicorn. If you don't know her, she's a magical unicorn. Hey, Robbie! So she is a warrior for truth, the truth that exists within each and every one of us. I'm reading this, so wait for it. The truth that knows nothing is outside of us, and that we are that what we are looking for is where we are looking from. What we are looking for is where we are looking from. Get that one? How cool is that, right? And that when we come back to the breath, we rediscover the truth of the ancient wisdom that resides within us. So I will see if she has jumped on. Rubes, hey, gosh, Em, hello. It must be like the time to do this. It's like Facebook watching time. I love it. Meanwhile, can I just say, for those of you who are watching and who may watch the replay, hey Beck, I'm actually sitting here in a jumper and it's now really, really hot. And to be truthfully honest with with the truth, I actually have sweat dripping down underneath my boobs because it is really, really warm and I didn't expect it to be this warm. And I've got nothing on underneath, so I can't take it off. So I'll bear with it, just to really align with the truth for you guys. So let me see if I can add her on. So funny, so funny. Vienna is... No, Robbie, I'm not wearing a bra. Vienna's amazing. So I will give you a little bit of a backstory while she's jumping on. Here she is. So I met V last year at an event, and it, for some reason, Jules and I caught up this morning, and she just said, "This is excellent," after the conversation.
I was like, oh my God, it's almost like the whole entire space around her started glittering. And I was like, you are just this magical unicorn that I have never ever seen before. And she's amazing. Hello. Can you hear me? Let's see if she can hear. Hello. I'm just telling everyone about my magical unicorn story about you.
Perfect. I just heard that you weren't wearing a bra because Robbie asked you if you were wearing a bra, and I'm like, I'm not wearing a bra either, so that's perfect.
Perfect. By the way, guys, V is someone who literally, you actually can't tell her a secret because she's like, there's no secrets. I remember telling her one time, and I was like, I'm not wearing undies. Don't tell anyone. And she's like, hey guys, Lauren's not wearing undies.
You didn't tell me not to tell anyone.
No, I
know.
I'm
not wearing undies.
Yeah.
If someone tells me not to say anything, I will not say anything. But if you don't prerequisite that, then everything is out in the open. And in saying that, there's a difference between holding secrets and something that's sacred that I won't share.
Very, very, very true. Yes, and you have been very good at those things for me as well. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm just noticing my hair. I just went and laid on Tina's bed, and I was like, can you rub my head? And she was giving me a head massage, and then I was like, oh shit, I've got to jump on a live, and now my hair's gone a bit cray, but that's okay.
It looks beautiful. You always look beautiful.
Thank you.
So I have just told everyone a little bit about you, just a teensy bit, but I would like to kind of just dive straight in and ask you about Because one of the things that you really wanted to talk about was deep trust and faith being the key to creating everything. And for me, what came up, the curiosity that came up for me is, how did you get to that point? And by the way, guys, if you want to ask V any questions, then please feel free to drop them in the comment box below. Definitely. And I can pop them in for her. But yeah, so deep trust and faith, that's a unique, well, I mean, it's not unique, it's very, but it's just, I like it. It's very, tell me more about that and how you got there.
Okay, so one of my mentors, Melaine Lee, I can tag her in this afterwards. I did a program with her called Expansion Mastery. It was a 12-month program, and she is truthfully the person who taught me that deep trust and faith is required to create anything. And, you know, there was this knowing, like I understood trust and faith, but it wasn't until I really experienced that deep trust and faith that things started showing up. And I was like, like, for instance, when I was selling my house last year, that was a deep trust and faith because, you know, I had always been taught and been brought up that, you know, you buy a house and that's security and it's foundation. And when I chose to sell that and go with my instincts and follow my heart, you know, my dad was like, "What the fuck are you I hope I swear on here because I swear."
You can swear.
"What are you doing?" My dad doesn't actually swear, but he was like, "What are you doing? Like, that's your foundation, that's your security." And, you know, following my heart and having full trust and faith that what I was doing was for me. And, you know, the hoops and the leaps and the jumps and the challenges and the obstacles that came up around selling my house were intense. And because I didn't have the support of him, that was really interesting for me. And, you know, when it all sold and it all came to a head, there were some really interesting things that showed up. And one of them being that it was under a 10-day condition of getting a engineer's report. And I was like, cool, whatever. I had like full trust and faith it would just go through and it was all going to be okay. And my intuition kept saying, you know, your house is a specific type of house. It needed a lot of work. And I knew that like this perfect buyer had to come along to get the price that I wanted and to have it go smoothly be sold. And it took a while. It took like months. And I was like, what is going on here? Came back and it turned out that the foundation of the house was fucked and needed like $30,000 worth of retaining to it. And the man who had put the conditions in on the house had offered me the money, had said, you know, I've got quotes done, it's going to cost about $30,000. I can do it with $9,000 of materials without labor. So if you're willing to pay half of that cost, will go unconditional today. So something that would have cost me $30,000 cost me $4,500.
Wow.
And, you know, the irony of it that was hilarious was that, you know, I had deep trust and faith that it would sell. I had deep trust and faith that it would all be perfect. And when I rang my dad to be like, hey, it's sold, this is the situation, he like got quite emotional because he had a funny feeling that something was going to go wrong with this engineer's report because of reasons. And he just was like, oh, thank God. And, you know, having that deep trust and faith that it was all going to work out, you know, something that was going to cost me potentially $30,000 ended up costing me $4,500, making still quite a lot of money off, you know, had I not had deep trust and faith and knowing that the perfect person was going to come along that would be able to create that opportunity for me, that would be able to still go unconditional and give me that opportunity, I would have probably bailed on the whole thing and ended up maybe renting it, who knows, but eventually it would have cost me heaps of money and I wouldn't have even been able to rent it out. I would have had to spend that $30,000 to be able to even have someone be in the house because the foundation was unstable. And I laugh at the cosmic joke of it because, you know, I'd been taught that having a house and owning a home is like security and foundation, yet the very foundation of that house was unstable,
that
and
was,
it wouldn't have created me security going forward. So it's funny that story has come through, because when we choose ourselves and we choose a path of following our heart and not doing what mainstream is doing, or doing what others are doing around us, or our family is wanting us to do, or the people around us, and if there's something that's calling us forward that seems a bit strange and a bit weird and a bit like not what we've been taught to do, and there's something driving us that's beyond us, that's greater than us, we get to have full trust and faith that it's for us, and to not back down. And so without that deep trust and faith in ourselves, our deep trust and faith in spirit, in source, and God, whatever you want to call it, you really truly are creating from a mind place, which is a really limited place to create from. And so when we cultivate deep trust and faith in ourselves and in everything that is driving us, we can create anything. And I mean anything. The possibilities are limitless, they're infinite. And so without that deep trust and faith that we've got a whole team, an invisible team of guides and of ancestors and of everything that are supporting us and helping us, and we just need to call on them, and they will help support us and drive us forward as well. And then our physical reality shows that up for us as well. It's having deep trust and faith that we're always held, always supported, always abundant, all of those things, to be able to create whatever it is we choose. I think of people like Albert Einstein, who, created, he was like well ahead of his time, and he was stuck in a little shed, doing something that people thought he was nuts. Yet he created one of the foundational scientific revelations of our history. And
totally.
I think of someone like Steve Jobs, like, well, and they had D and how they be, and that cultivated everything that they created. So we get to create from that deep place of trust within, and knowing that it doesn't always look like what we think it should look like and what others think it should look like, and we get to draw back on deep trust and faith that we are always supported. As long as we follow our heart, it'll be guided, and it will be supported, and it will be held, and it will be created, because we are creators ultimately.
Vienna Chiron, everyone. I told you she's magic. For those of you who have just jumped on, Kate, Joe, Deb, please feel free to say hello, ask any questions as well. If you're watching the replay, send us some love. So this magical human being is just amazing. She works with truth. She works with clearly deep trust and faith. Samantha, achievers, I think I might have said it hopefully right. Definitely learning to part with that childhood conditioning, that you need certain things in life in order, let me see if I can get more. I can't get more. In order to be stable. It won't show me up the rest of the comments. Sorry, Samantha. Oh, here we go. To be stable and happy. Love to see role models like you showing and teaching us the way. How can we attract abundance if we follow our hearts? Woo, much love. Haha. So I would really love to, you mentioned leading from the heart, and I'd love to know, and I'd love for you to share with everyone kind of how you got to this space, because I know that I have been a person watching stuff like this and listening to stuff like this and going, well, it's easy for you to say, you know how to do it, or sitting there going, oh, but how do I even do that? Like, what does that even look like? And so I'd love for you to even just share the backstory of how you got here, and what leading from your heart looks like, I guess, from you.
Yeah. So it's been a short journey leading from my heart. End of 2017, so we're going back like a year and a half ago. before that, there was about 6 months where I would have called that my dark night of the soul, where I went deep into some shit that needed to be seen and made aware of. And through that process, which was uncomfortable, it was lonely, it was scary, it was all the things, I truthfully dove into that blindly and willingly. And I allowed myself to do things that really scared the shit out of me. So one of those things was signing up for Vipassana. I went through a breakup and I just thought I need to do something that scares the crap out of me. And I'd had Vipassana in my awareness for a while, and I was like, okay, I'm going to sign up for that. And then I got an email like a few days later going, you have been accepted. What am I doing? And just did a little ding. And you know, that was a catalyst to a lot of things at that time. And you know, I then got a hit to go to Bridge and Extreme with Alexia and Preston, and those 3 things, I did those like 2 weeks. I did Vipassana, and then 2 weeks later I did Bridge, and then 2 weeks later I did Extreme. And being able to get uncomfortable in those environments. I'd never done any personal development. I'd done little retreats and silent stuff before, but nothing major. And just diving headfirst into the things that scared the crap out of me was the catalyst for change. And so I was in a place of debt. I had a lot of debt. I'd owned a business. That business I'd had for like 4 or 5 years, and I had a situation in my business where I got initiated through my abundance, through something showing up in my business that was hard for me to be with. It was a betrayal. It felt like a betrayal at the time, and now I just see it as an initiation into understanding how abundance is truly a mindset. And going back to the question, it's truly a mindset. I had debt that I was hiding. I wasn't looking at it. I just didn't want to go there. It was like $26,000 of credit card debt that I'd racked up through my business, and I kind of just allowed it because I was creating heaps of money, and you know, I was paying all my bills and all the things. But it got to the point where I was like, come on now, you need to face off with this. And so in those 6 months, I paid off that debt. I created a situation where I made sure that that debt was cleared. And by choosing myself and doing the things that scared me, it opened me up to understanding myself deeper, understanding my truth, which is that I was living from habitual ways of conditioning, of what I thought others expected of me, and not truly living for myself. And so one of the clear things was, you know, starting to say no to all the things that weren't aligned in my life anymore, which looked like pretty much everything. I sold everything I owned, sold my house, sold my business, and decided to just do whatever I chose for a whole year. And that was heaps of fun and challenging and scary. And you know, the question was, how do you do that? You just do what you think you can't do, basically. Like what showed up in that last year or within this last year has been pure magic. And it's only because I was willing to say yes.
Yeah.
And also saying no to what no longer was. Discerning between the two was an interesting one, because whenever I realized I was doing things for other people, it was a no. And anytime it was for me, it was a yes. And that could be really hard because people say, you know, well, we've got to be in service and we've got to serve other people. But you really, truly have to serve yourself first and choose yourself first always. And then from the overflow of that, then you can serve and help and give from that place. And so when we follow our intuition and we follow our hearts, pure magic shows up. And you know, there's certain tools that definitely helped me. I've had a healer medicine woman that I've been working with for like 6 or 7 years, and I've done a lot of work with her to clear things using vibrational medicines. I have done somatic work. Breath work has been huge for me to clear my clear a lot of trauma, a lot of energy that was stuck in the body, mental conditionings, things like that. And also, obviously, with working with Ancient Awakening, the plant medicines have been huge. Like ayahuasca has definitely helped me. Wachuma has been a huge one for me. Kambo, yeah, leaning into those medicines. And truthfully, the best medicine to help you tap into your heart that you can utilize every day, that is the most subtle, most magical and delicious medicine, is cacao, because it's the heart opener, it's for the heart. And you're seeing it pop up everywhere all over, because the spirit of cacao, she is wanting to awaken the hearts of the Western world. And so you're seeing these ceremonies everywhere for a purpose. Her spirit wants to be in our bodies and wants us to be drinking this delicious medicine every day so that we can come from a place of our heart. And I truthfully drink cacao every single day. There's not often that I go without it. And I think that has been a massive part of learning to live from my heart, because it's a heart opener. And when you're living from that place, creativity flows. And she is a really beautiful spirit to help you to unlock your creative potential and create the life of abundance, of joy, of fun, of play. That has been my experience with working with cacao. So that medicine is a really good tool to help people to tap back into that place of living from their heart, which is, their highest self, really.
So, I really want to, and I just love you. I love you so much, and I love all the things that you drop in and that you try and that you have in your arena of life. I love you so much.
I love you.
Thank you. And so I would really love to dive into your breath work, because for those of you who haven't done breath work with V, she's actually holding an event this Friday, is it, on the Gold Coast?
Tomorrow night. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is tomorrow night.
In Miami. Yeah, in Miami.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I have done breath work with you a few times actually, and oh my goodness, I literally, the first time I did it with you, I remember I just had the most intensely insane release that I never even expected was sitting there. And it was something so deep that actually took me back to my birth, of how I actually came into this world. And there was so much sorrow and so much pain, but once I was able to let that go and release it, it was just such an opening and expansion. And then the second time, I remember vividly, like my body was just, the innate wisdom of my body was doing its thing. And the potency of the breath work that I've experienced with you, I've experienced it with a few people already. And your breath work, I honestly don't know what it is. It's you, actually, it's you. Of course I know what it is. But the second time, I literally remember my body doing, it's like my mind was observing my body doing its thing, and my body was just doing its thing, and my mind had to trust the innate wisdom of my body. And there was so much release, so much expansion. And I remember getting up feeling so light after that. And it was this deep pain, because recently I've gone through a heartbreak, and it was almost like I had ripped out that last little residue of heartbreak and heartache that was sitting there, and it was so deeply stuck in there that it just, I can't even, I didn't even know it was sitting there until I did that. And I was like, oh, there it is, hello. So I would love for you to share what is breath work, because I feel like it's this new thing that people are doing these days and people don't know about it. So yeah, what's breath work, and how does it take you to your high, or how does it help release traumas and all that?
Yeah. So breath work. it truly is the one thing that kind of cracked me right open to understanding, the truth of us all. And the absolute truth is what I'm meaning. I mean, we all have our own truths, and we come from that place and what we come here to have our experience of. But when it comes to the absolute truth of us being loved, being connected, breathwork definitely showed me that the very first time I experienced it. And being a circular breath, what it does is it drops you into your body. So pranayama, which we do with yoga, and you're doing through the nose, and you're doing different like fire breath, things like that, where you're doing in through the nose, out through the mouth, what have you. They're great because mind clarity clearers. But with this circular breath, what you're doing is you're tapping into the body's wisdom, because you're going straight into the body and you're bypassing the mind. There is merit in pranayama and doing those mind clearing exercises, because we can get quite busy minds. Breath work, my earpods keep being the circular breath drops you straight into the body and allows you to tap into that innate wisdom which you were speaking of. So I spoke of this in a live earlier on my page, which people can go and check out. My page is public, or you can add me as a friend. But the way that they found this holotropic breath, or some people call it rebirthing, some people call it circular breathing, how they originally found it is they were doing tests on people with LSD, and then they made LSD illegal. And so the scientists who were testing the LSD decided to, because they couldn't do the testing with LSD anymore because it was illegal, they decided to study the breath that people seemed to be getting into when they were on the psychedelics, because every single person was doing this breath. And so they decided to continue the studies of this breath. And what they discovered was it was activating different hormones in the body, like serotonin, and it was activating the DMT that naturally exists in the body. And DMT is the psychoactive ingredient in things like ayahuasca. And so it can take you on a psychedelic journey or a deep truth journey within. So nothing exists outside of us. Even when we're journeying with plant medicines, it is a deep journey within, and it may seem outside of us, but it's actually going into the internal wisdom that we all have. And so this breath can really tap us into the wisdom of our ancient ones, the wisdom of our body, knowing what's stuck in the body that no longer serves us. It may activate dormant memories that need to be cleared, and without going into the story of them, you just have the knowing, and then the energy wants to be shifted, so it moves. It's emotion, energy in motion. So that can look like, during a breathwork, screaming or yelling and releasing anger. It could look like laughing, it could look like crying, it could look like lots of different things. Sometimes I stretch doing it, because my body just feels tight and it wants to be stretched out. It activates so much cellular memory that it releases the energy that no longer serves you, and it allows you to be a clear bamboo shoot. So my teacher that I did my first training with, Chetna, she talks about us being like, we want to be like an empty bamboo shoot. And what I've discovered since doing a lot of personal development work, working with people, coaching through Bridge and Extreme, and doing the work that I do with Kate with Ancient Awakening, a lot of people come along to these things and they clear so much energy through somatics, like body work, where they clear energy, and through allowing the quantum to shift things out, so through breath work, through the plant medicines, what have you. And we're purging what no longer serves us. And then a lot of people have worded to me straight after, I just feel so clear now, I can fill it all up with all the good things. And it's not really the point of it. The point is to be an empty bamboo shoot. It's to be a clear channel so that source can work through you. And this comes back to what I was talking about before, leading from your heart. When you are clear, when you're truly clear and you're allowing your vessel to be a clear channel, you can lead from your heart so openly and without fear that there's no need to pull more things in. You don't have a grasp on needing anything else outside of you, because it's all within you, and all of that good stuff that you want to grasp for, you actually can listen to from within and operate from a place of pure knowing that everything that you have ever needed is residing within you. And the breath has this magical way of tapping you into that wisdom and allowing you to be with it in such a meditative state that it bypasses the ego or the mind in such a way that you can really see things quite clearly, because it is clearing. And I said earlier when I was talking on my live earlier, it's a cosmic joke, because when we're born into our very first breath is the very first illusion of separation that we have. We come from our mother's body and we're separate from her, and that very first breath is the, oh my gosh, I'm not connected anymore. I'm a separate entity or being. And so that's the very first illusion of being separate. Yet the breath is the key to taking you back to that connection as well. It's the cosmic joke of it all. It's the one thing that will take you home to yourself and to your own truth. And so, you said on your thing, I'm a warrior for truth, and I truly am. And, our truth shifts and changes as we shift and evolve, but generally our truth is love. And when we're coming from love and coming from our heart, the truth kind of has the same thing and has the same vibration. And whatever that looks like in our physical reality is perfect. It's part of our experience, and our truth is actually, in its simplest form, love. And we came here to be connected and to love each other and to help each other and to be of service to each other, to remember our truth, which is that there is no separation. We're all connected. Everything is touching everything. And it's all an illusion, that anything other than that is truth.
I don't know about you guys, but it's like my body is drinking that in. Oh my gosh, everything is touching everything. Everything is an illusion. Oh yes, my goodness.
Love is our truth.
So true. And Gail, beautiful Gail, said, I love the breath work with you, Vienna, in Vanuatu. Such a beautiful experience. Yeah, she's amazing. She's so
Breathwork
amazing.
is just one of those tools that really, there's so many things. And Kate, who I work with, she talks about this. When you go on your personal development journey or your awakening or your spiritual journey or life journey, let's just call it life journey, because it's all the same fucking thing. And decompartmentalizing it is a bit ridiculous in my books. But when we're on this journey, there's different things we jump into. So like it could be the NLP bus, it could be the Breathwork bus, it could be the Tony Robbins bus, it could be whatever. And the tools that we get to jump on and jump off, and we can come back to them. I'm not saying that breathwork is the answer, but it definitely has got a powerful medicine about it to allow you to come back to your truth. It's not about someone telling you what your truth is. I mean, I did just say your simplest truth is love, but that can look very different in your human experience. And so coming back to your own truth and feeling that and knowing that from within and being present with your breath and each moment is the key to unlocking everything. And nothing outside of you can give you that. And so that's why I believe breathwork is one of the most powerful tools at this point in my life anyway, for me to be able to know what is true for me and what is an illusion, or what is the inspired self and what is the illusionary self. And so when I come back to the breath and come back to being very present, I can see very clearly, or be very clear. Yeah. all of these things work. Everything that we jump into and play in and have fun with in this experience works. And you know, you get to try everything, and if it calls for you to try it, breathwork is just one of those things that we get to play with and can unlock so much for us and allow us to really, really clear stuff. And you know, trauma is a word that gets thrown around a lot, and you know, I'm trained in trauma, you know, breathwork that's specifically for trauma release. I'm still in my training for that, because we use body work to release it, because basically we're walking memory libraries, and you know, touching here, there's a memory here, there's memories all over my body. And so when you touch during a breathwork session, which is what I do when I do one-on-ones, that can release more what we would call trauma. And trauma on its basic level is just a dense energy that's stuck in the body. We have a past, it has a memory, and when we get past the story, it's just an energy, a lower vibrating energy that's got stuck in the body that wants to be moved out because it's no longer serving us. And so different energies, guilt and shame, vibrate at a really low frequency. Something like love and joy vibrates really high. So when there's something that's sort of a lower density vibration that's stuck in the body that wants to shift out, it can actually lower the overall vibration, which is your thoughts, it's your words, it's everything. And so the more we can clear out those lower vibrating energies, the more high vibrational we are, the more we speak you know, beautifully of others, the more that our thoughts create, you know, worlds and inspiration, and can be you know, inspiration to others, and allow others to see, you know, that they can create anything and be limitless and infinite. And so this is where the breath can be really powerful, because it can release some of those lower vibrational energies or densities that get stuck in the body, and can help people to raise their vibration so that they can live a life of freedom and of choice, of conscious choice, rather than life just choosing them from habitual way of being.
So true. Yes. I love that you mentioned that about trauma, because I think the wording can,
people can get stuck in story around trauma.
And
trauma can look so, and I'm not just counting that trauma is, you know, it has merit in needing a story to go with it, and sometimes that is useful. And you do get to a point where its basic level is energy, and it just wants to be shifted out. And when we allow it to just be what it was and move. I had a situation this afternoon actually where I cleared some energy, went down to the beach, and I was doing some breath work and had some rape, and I wrote afterwards. And when I was writing, it basically said, like, the past is truly the past, it's gone. What you've just written about and what you've just cleared is gone now. There's no need to revisit it. Just let it be, let it go, because the past is truly an illusion of the mind when it's past, when it has passed by. And so if we're wanting to go back into traumas and we're wanting to revisit them again and again and again, it will just recreate the lower vibration in the body again and again and again. And when we've truthfully just moved through something and cleared something, we can let it go. It's gone back to the universe where it best serves, because it no longer serves us. It's no longer needed here.
Yes. I'm just literally like soaking all this in. So tomorrow night you've got your breath work. Can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Yeah,
because I think you've still got some tickets there, and people can come along.
I do have tickets. I would love if people would jump in and come along. I'll put a little thingy in the comments below after we jump off, so that people can go to Eventbrite and buy a ticket. They're $66, and with that you receive the most high vibrational, delicious, amazing cacao. Fly cacao is my absolute favorite, and
Mm.
the essence is delicious. I mean, all cacao is beautiful, but this is a ceremonial grade, and the company that Fly Cacao comes through is just amazing. I've just spent some time in Maui with the two people who own Fly Cacao, and far out that they are just the most beautiful humans. And so we'll be going into ceremony with cacao, opening up our heart, allowing ourselves to drop into our body, into our hearts, and then we'll be going into a breathwork session. I tend to not influence too much what people's intentions are going in. Sometimes I do themed breathwork, like you experienced the sensual one that we did at a retreat, which was really cool, which I'll probably bring some more guided or intentional breathworks going forward. But this one, I just wanted it to be open so that you can come and experience it, see what breathwork is, and allow yourself to go on whatever journey it is that you're needing. Some people just feel a peace, a state of mind of peacefulness, bliss. Some people go on a full, psychedelic journey. Some people experience a lot of emotion moving through. Some people laugh. I'm one of the people that laugh a lot during.
So funny. I remember I have always just remember like being in breathwork sessions and there's people around me laughing and I'm just like, how does that happen? Like when I'm actually like semi-conscious, I'm like, where does the laughter come from? It's so funny. It's great.
For me, what happens is I get a lot of information about cosmic jokes, like the joke of it all. Like my brain would have been stuck on something for ages, and then it'll go through the process of releasing it, and then I'll realize how ridiculous the whole thing is. And so that happens a lot with breath work with me. I end up laughing a lot at the joke of all of it. Like, oh my God, I've been stuck in that for weeks, and it's not even a thing. I've just created it. And even in plant medicine journeys, like with ayahuasca, I laugh a lot because the cosmic joke of it all, it's just all ridiculous and hilarious to me.
I hope I laugh in my next one.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but I do giggle a lot when it comes to understanding things more deeply, because the more I've learned, the less I know. We get to be here to have fun and play and joy, and that is something that I'm a real freaking dragon for. And I say dragon because there's like a fire in my heart that sees so much suffering and seriousness. And even in the community of like spirituality, like everything can become quite dogmatic at times and really serious and really deep. And yes, I understand things are sacred, and we get to have play and fun and joy and allow that to be our essence that comes through too, because we have a childlike nature that gets so suppressed as we get older. And I am waving the fun flag for adults, because it gets to be fun, it gets to be silly, it gets to be playful, and even in ceremony it gets to be those things too, because they're all aspects of who we be. And by not allowing that to be part of it, it's like disowning a part of ourselves. And I'm not disowning the seriousness and the deepness that is required when you're doing sacred work. I understand it, I be with it, I am it. And we get to remember that this life, we get to be here for a very, 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 very small amount of time. So why not create something that brings us the highest joy, fun, excitement, play, and hilariousness while we can.
Yes.
Yeah.
So funny. I just imagine you with these fairy wings or just something. Whenever I think of you, like you've just got this magic around you. Oh, it's so cute. So before we finish up, is there anything that you would really love to just kind of drop in before we finish, that perhaps people don't ask you about, or that you haven't spoken about, that you really want to share? If there's not, that's fine as well. Hey, Amy.
Yeah, I do. I have realized, I've been on this process of clearing my own energy and allowing myself to be as clear as possible for me. And I've realized that while doing that, I have been in initiations to learn how to hold ceremony, how to create a container, how to be with other people processing what they're processing. And I've been in that work and I haven't really expressed that to its entirety. The work that I do with Ancient Awakening, holding space, and as well as the things that I've done over the last year. And I'm ready to call in, like I've created a container where I can call people in to come and discover their own truth. And so I get to say that out loud because whilst I'm play and I'm joy and I'm fun and I love all things, I also get to be really real about a space for people to come and be held and be seen and witnessed in going really, really deep within and allowing themselves to discover their own truth and come from their heart and be exactly who they be unapologetically, and allowing that to be expressed in their day-to-day lives, not just in ceremony, not just in a safe space, being able to feel safe to be exactly who you are unapologetically, wherever, however, with whoever. And so that is what I'm creating. That is what I want for others, because when we live from that place, we are truly living from our higher self. And that is what I'm calling in to help others to cultivate in their lives.
I love it. I'm so glad that you dropped that in. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for creating the space for that. That's awesome.
I'm so glad, because you hold space. The words that you just put to it, I wholeheartedly agree. And it's not something that everyone can do, and you do it so almost like so naturally and innately. So I'm so glad that you dropped that in there.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you. And so before we drop off, I really want to acknowledge you for how you be in this world, how you show up, for the love, the joy, and the depth and the fun flag that you wave, and the total self-acceptance that you have, which allows that permission for others as well, without judgment, without boundaries, without limits. You have this beautiful way of bringing people back to their own innate wisdom that is fun and lighthearted. And the only word that comes to mind that really encompasses all of you, that I feel deep within myself, is magic. You are completely and entirely magic. And I know I've told you this before, but I love you so much, and I'm so grateful that I have you in my space. And I love how you show up in the world. And I don't even feel like I have words for that, but yeah, I just want you to know that I love you, and I'm so grateful that you are in my world and that you're doing the work that you're doing in the way that you're doing it. And I'm so glad you found this way of being.
Thank you. Oh, I receive.
So
thank you so much. I always feel so seen by you. So thank you. I love you.
I love you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on The Naked Truth.
You're so welcome.
This has been great. I could chat all night with you.
I know. I'm just like, that's right. What's the time? So guys, if you want to hello Carly, hello Amy. Yeah, she's pretty magic, isn't she? Gail's like, thank you, you're both such beautiful humans. Thanks for watching, Gail. Thanks guys for watching, and if you're watching the replay and you have come across V, then you know what I'm talking about. And if you want to stalk her, then I have dropped all of her links in the profile in the little description. And if there's any others, I'll drop them in the comments as well. And also, if you want to jump along to her breathwork tomorrow night at Karma Collab, is that it? Karma Collab?
Yeah,
Hub?
in Miami.
Yeah, in Miami on the Gold Coast. Oh my gosh, you will not be disappointed at all. And yeah, I'll pop that in the description as well.
Thank you.
But V loves to be stalked, and she loves chats as well.
Stalk me. Message me. Yeah. I love it. Send me weird questions. I like weird questions. I like
she really does
thought-provoking questions. So send them to me. I'd love it.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, my love. I love you, and thank you. Bye, guys. Good evening. Good night. Love you.